Hello. So before I start getting the content of this video, I want to start off with a disclaimer. Pretty obvious one, but just cover my butt with YouTube and all that. I am not a doctor. I am not a medical professional of any way, shape, or form. Everything I'm about to talk about is based off of information I have gotten from doctors or nutritionists, or to be honest, a lot of it is just trial and error when it comes to my own self and how things I react. The things I take, the things I do, what I eat and all that is something that works for me, but isn't going to work for everybody. Probably won't work for most people. But if you are somebody who you think it might work for, my biggest suggestion is consult a doctor, consult a dietitian. Don't go into this blindly. A lot of things in regards to your diet and exercise and stuff like that can have some big negatives if you do it wrong. And I personally have taken the risk for some of the choices I've made, and so far I've been lucky and they've all paid off. But the last thing anybody should do is put their health at risk for no good reason. And really, if you can consult with a doctor, do it. So with that out of the way, let's talk about my weight loss journey. So this is basically the day zero, as the title will describe. I'm starting everything fresh tomorrow. So the reason for the big delay is, for myself, is a combination of renovations, which basically messed up our house. Took away my workout room because I have a Bowflex Extreme, I have a treadmill, I have an elliptical. Also, we just right before we started renovations bought, I think it was a cow and a half. And all our deep freezes basically got buried with boxes and stuff for renovations as well. Renovations were supposed to take 2 weeks. They took 4 or 5 months. So, yeah, that didn't work out as planned. But now I'm going to get back on it. So just I think it's important to cover different topics. So the main topics I'm going to be covering is my medical issues, because I think that plays a big factor in anybody's ability to lose weight, and mine especially. What my goals are, being short-term or long-term. My diet is also a big factor. Exercise. I've got notes on the side here. And then I'm going to end this with weighing myself. So it'll be my first weigh in a while. I haven't weighed myself in several weeks, so I'm not sure exactly what I am right now. And then for the less squeamish of you is I'm going to be taking my shirt off and doing a front and side showing, so that it's documented. Now, the purpose of the video is primarily for myself. I want to have something to document my progress so I can look back at it and all that. And on top of that, if somebody views this and it does help them, then that would be great as well. But primarily the focus of this is for me to document it for myself. But if you do have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and if I can answer it, I'll answer it if in the comments. Otherwise, I may make a video or just tack it on to one of these updates. This video is going to be pretty long. It's going to be the longest of them all, probably, because I want to cover a lot of different things, where the other ones are probably just going to be relatively quick updates on what's changed, progress, stuff like that. So, first thing, medical issues. Actually, let's get quickly to a little more of a backdrop, I guess. In Christmas 2019, I started to do this originally. And I went very well. I started at 480 pounds. I got myself down to 390-ish by the next April. But then I got a massive leg infection, which I'll cover a little bit more detail why that is. That leg infection moved into my kidney, and I stopped working out. And because of COVID, I couldn't get medical treatment, which I've covered in previous videos. I've since privated, but I might unprivate it. But I can't go to the hospital during COVID. I can't wear a mask due to many issues, and because most of my symptoms at that time were things like fever and very generalistic COVID symptoms, basically the hospital told me to GTFO. not very politely either. And that caused a lot of mental strain on me, not being able to seek medical treatment for my issues. So that was rough. So I basically, since April, have had no doctor's visits. I've not even left my house. And because of whenever I feel sick, I basically run to sugar. Sugar gives me immediate energy. You obviously get the endorphins from sugar and all that, and I've basically been riding the sugar high since April, so I've packed on the weight again. My estimated guess is I'm probably back up to 460. So that's why now that I don't have any current major medical issues to stop me, I can start this up again. And this time we have no rhinos coming, no nothing, and hopefully it goes better. Obviously, there's always the risk of falling off the wagon again, but this is why I'm making this video, to try to motivate me to stay on it. Because again, I'm going to be doing this on a weekly basis. That will hopefully keep this consistently in my mind and force me to have to confront this this task on a regular basis. So, go to my weight issue or my medical issues. I'm going to try to do it based on not necessarily worst stuff to best, but yeah, I've got a list. I'll just go based on this. So probably the biggest one is my back. 10 years ago, 11 years ago, almost 10 and a half years ago, I herniated my L3, L4 disc. I basically popped the disc and I pushed into my spinal cord. What this caused was intermittent paralysis in my lower extremities. That includes both my legs, my bladder, luckily not anything else, which basically made it really hard for me to be mobile. It caused what I can only describe as lightning pain down my legs, and that lasted for about 2 years. And in that 2 years, I basically just lived on the couch. I'd almost gone through full muscle atrophy in my legs and stuff, probably everywhere, and I was almost wheelchair bound. Luckily, got my shit together, and yeah, things got better. I still have issues. I still have problems with my legs, especially my right one. My right one is a big issue when it comes to nerves and cramping and that kind of stuff. Hopefully, as I lose weight, that will get better, because that is not fun. And that is probably one of the hardest things for me to deal with when it comes to walking, is my right leg has issues. And sleeping. Sleeping is a big one. I can't sleep in a normal bed because for whatever reason I can't get into a position where my spine doesn't cause leg cramping at night, where I can sleep on a couch, and for some reason it's better. I have no idea why. I've never been able to figure it out, so hopefully losing weight will help solve that one. The next big one that kind of caused where I am now is skin disease called lichen sclerosis. I'm not going to go into great detail on this one. I want to be as quick as I can. It was basically a skin disease, but skin disease was left untreated because it was misdiagnosed by a doctor and was able to spread for 5 years. And by the time that my doctor finally sent me to a specialist, it had basically ravaged some pretty important parts of my body. By the time I was slotted for surgery to correct it, I was on 8 T4s with codeine a day, maximum amount of diclofenac. I was on nerve blockers. I was on tons of medications for pain. I was to the point of suicide. To be honest, if it wasn't for my doctor calling me when he did, tell me I had a surgical appointment, I would have probably not survived out that week. That's how bad the pain was. And I'm lucky. I got the surgery. I was 430 pounds at the time, and nobody in their right mind apparently would have done surgery on me. But my doctor knew I had no other option. It was basically do surgery and possibly die on the table, or, well, die off the table. And the surgery went fantastic. So it's not all solved. There's still issues in regards to pain, discomfort, stuff like that. But still, one of those things I have to work through. Both my knees are generally screwed, not because of weight, surprisingly. My knees got screwed for football. I tore my left ACL in high school. Had a lineman do a 360 on my knee, and I almost tore my ACL completely off, just because it's basically an elastic band in your knee, and I basically tore it to the point where it was just barely hanging on. It's healed. It's not perfect, but as with ACL injuries, if you are a big guy, you manage ACL injuries much easier than if you are a smaller person, just because of how your knees work. But because in high school I was still probably about 280, and I was on crutches for months, just the repetitive impact on my knee joints from walking, because I always walk on one leg, I ended up doing probably more damage to my right knee than the damage I'd originally done to my left. So that makes it difficult again for doing walks on the treadmill. So that's another problem. Another big issue I have, and this is what comes down to the infection I suffered last April, is I have what's called edema, which is essentially the fat tissue, typically in your extremities, most usually in your legs, begins to basically absorb massive amounts of fluid. And it can get to the point where your leg blows up so big that it actually tears the skin apart and starts leaking fluid. And because of all those issues, it can basically get infected. And that's what mine did. And the infection, because it is fluid-based and your kidneys process your fluids, it moved into the kidneys and moved into my kidneys for months. I've been dealing with that off and on since April. Actually, up to very recently. Only a few weeks ago, I had a temperature of 104 Fahrenheit, or 38, 39 degrees Celsius, which came and went over a 2-week period. So basically 2 days with a fever, 2 days off, 2 days with a fever, 2 days off. It seems to have resolved itself. That seems to have been the last bit of the infection I had to deal with, hopefully. I may also be dealing with a kidney stone right now, which comes down to my next one. I have hyperuricemia. What that means is my body does not properly process or remove uric acid from my body, which leads to two conditions. One, kidney stones. I have had so many kidney stones since I was I've had, I don't know, I've lost count how many kidney stones I've had, and I get them fairly regularly. Diet helps with that one, but there's a lot of times it's just not a whole lot you can do. It's just going to happen. And another problem with it is gout. I don't get the gout very often, but gout is bad. So basically, gout is uric acid gathers in your extremities, typically in your toes, but in your toes and finger joints. It begins to crystallize, and those crystals begin to grow and spread, and starts really messing up your joints. You can eat at your joints. So I've been pretty lucky. I usually, if I get gout, it's very, very minor and very, very rare. But it sucks. You just have a cool breeze go over that extremity, and you're in agony. So I'm really fortunate. I've only had really bad cases of gout maybe 3 times in 10 years. We're not sure what caused the hyperuricemia. Could have just been something that was picked up. I got diagnosed with that the same time I got diagnosed, or same time I hurt my back. Coincidence completely, but it sucked. Now, the last one, and this one might actually be maybe not the most impactful, because since this is something I can do from home. This is actually pretty easy. But mental issues. Mental issues are a big thing I've had to deal with for a long time. I've been dealing with medical problems for 10 years. I've been cooped up in my home for nearly 10 years. That has some big impact on your self-confidence, self-esteem, your motivation, just everything. So it's not the biggest factor for me, but definitely, obviously, plays a factor for anybody. You have to have the drive, and I do have the drive. Luckily, it's something I've been able to grow and maintain and foster, I guess, within myself, is this need to lose the weight. Motivation being is I want to be healthy, mostly for my family, mostly my wife, to be honest. I want to be able to do things with her. I want to go out and do things I haven't been able to do with her for 10 years. We used to be relatively active. I've always been a big guy. Even at the point of my back injury, I was still 350 pounds. But I was a very strong and capable 350 pounds, because I worked at a warehouse. And most of the stuff I was throwing around was 100, 200, 300 pounds. Actually, my back injury was caused by basically carrying a 500-pound fridge. So not being that strong physical person anymore has had obviously a big impact. But that's generally the medical stuff that I'm dealing with that I have to get over. And I'll cover a little bit more on how I am able to and how I'm planning on progressing past this stuff. I need to have a drink every so often because I'm always parched. Okay. Goals. I want to cover goals next because what am I trying to get out of this? So long term, I need to get down to at least 250 pounds. Now, there's some wiggle room in there. I need to have surgery. Not just because I'm fat. I need my surgery for my lichen sclerosis was done to save my life, basically. It wasn't done to be pretty. It wasn't done to allow much function beyond the specific purpose. So I've already talked to my specialist, and he's already told me that he can go down there and correct things and pretty it up and make me generally functional. I'll never be fully functional in the classic sense, but I can have a return to normalcy, as it were. So I need to have that surgery, and we both basically agree it's better if I do that when I'm lighter. And secondary, because I need to lose a lot of weight. Remember, I'm going from 480 down to mid 200s. The odds of my skin snapping back and not requiring me to get surgery and stuff like that is pretty slim. So I'm probably going to need surgery in that regard. Again, that's not going to be till about 250 pounds. Now, the reason why there's wiggle room in that one is because I'm not planning on just losing weight and just burning fat. That's not my end goal. I want to get my strength back, my muscle mass back. So, depending on how well that goes, the goal weight might actually be higher, just because if I do end up packing on a lot of muscle mass, obviously the point in which surgery becomes practical will be at a higher number, obviously. So my expectation is between 250, 280, because remember, once I get the skin removal surgery and all that stuff, that's going to be a good 30 plus pounds. So I'm going to go from 250 to 220, or from like 280 to 250 just from that surgery. So that's a big thing to take into account, that I'm going to have a lot of excess flesh that has to be removed. And 220 would be a nice weight for me, I think. Again, if I end up packing on a lot more muscle than I expect, then 250 will be good. I am nearly 6 feet. I used to be 6 feet, but my back injury obviously crunched my spine, so that sucked. So my long-term, that's my long-term goal. Now, one of my more mid-tier goals is probably based on my birthday, which is July 26th. And the goal for that is this is unrealistic, and I'm probably not going to reach it. But the goal is 350. That's an estimated 110 pounds by the end of July. Probably won't reach that, but that is my goal. That is what I'm going to try to achieve, and I'm going to try to push myself to achieve. I'd rather have a goal that pushes me than a goal that's too easy to get, and I become complacent. But in the more shorter term goal is definitely, in the next week, I'd like to lose at least 20 pounds. I think that's extremely doable. I retain a lot of water weight, so once I start actually cutting out a lot of the garbage I've been eating lately, I should purge a lot of water from my system. And then obviously in the next week I'm going to have a lot less calories, which I'll go over when I go through the diet. But I will be undercutting my calories considerably for the next week for sure. Decently cut for the next 2 weeks. So the idea of 20 pounds in a week is I think is completely doable. My hope is the next 2 weeks because I'm going to be doing a detox fast, is 30 pounds in the next 2 weeks. I think I can probably get better than that, but that's my immediate goal. Okay, so what am I going to do to achieve this? So the big thing, and I think this is known by most people, is diet is the number one way of losing weight. Number one, if you're a big person. Now, if you're a skinny person, maybe exercise might trump diet a little bit more. if you have your diet already in check. But if you're somebody who doesn't have their diet in check or just getting their diet in check, diet is everything. So what am I doing? So I found out about something called Core Restore. So there's another YouTuber I follow on a regular basis who suggested it as kind of a liver cleanse, but it's also something that would definitely work for weight loss as well, and kind of a reset button for me. Super expensive. I would not recommend it for anybody. Again, talk to a doctor if you intend on maybe do it. Maybe it's even covered by your healthcare somehow. What it is it's basically, where is it? This stuff is pretty much most of it. It's referred to as a dietary supplement. It's basically you take 2 scoops of this twice a day for the entire 2-week period. And it's supposed to have a bunch of stuff in it that assists with cleansing your liver and stuff like that, as well as these things here, which is, again, enzymes to promote weight loss. Or not weight loss, promote liver health. And, the goal is to basically restore liver. So the first 2 days, all you have is that, period. No food, nothing. Loss of liquids, always loss of liquids. But that's it for 2 days. So it's literally a 2-day fast. 48 hours. For me, that's nothing. 48 hours of not eating, as much as it might surprise people. Being a big guy, used to do what we have around here is 36-hour famine. Most people have probably heard that. I haven't heard it around it for a while, but I used to do that all the time. I used to do that every year without any trouble at all. I generally don't eat very much. It's just I eat the wrong things. And I have a very crappy metabolism. Or I have a very hermetic metabolism, I guess is the best way of putting it. So that's the first 2 days. And then for the next 12 days afterwards, it's basically 1,000 calories of food, and continuing that. And then after that, I just go back to whatever my eating habits are going to be. So what does that mean when it comes to my general diet? So my general diet is basically carnivore. I don't do well with carbohydrates. I don't do well with sugar. As much as I love sugar, and I will admit to being a sugar addict when I'm taking sugar, I want more of it, and I want more, and I want more, and I want more, I want more. It's bad. It's something that I need to cut out completely. I'm fortunate enough to not be diabetic, as much as that surprises many of my doctors. But I'm only going to be dodging that bullet for so long. So I need to get on that case real fast. So, yeah, I'm going pure protein, eggs, bacon, beef. Chicken once in a while. If I do start having cheat days again, which will not be for a very long time considering COVID, my 3 favorite types of restaurants are hot pot. So, again, it's just basically a broth and meat, and you boil the meat, and you cook the meat in the water, and you eat it. Very simple, very healthy. Another one is Brazilian Steakhouse. Again, all you can eat meat, seasoned meats. Doing a little bit less because it's a little more expensive, and the seasoning too much salt does have a negative impact on me. Last one is sushi. And unfortunately, I can't do rice anymore with this. So I can have sashimi, which is great, squid, and a couple other things, but those are my treats once COVID and lockdown ends, and I can get back to that, and then go out and have dinner with friends and stuff, and luckily those meals are safe. I don't even have to worry about counting calories as long as I don't do it on a regular basis. That's the awesome part, because none of it's sugar and none of it's carbs. So what happens with me with carbs and sugar is, when I talked about my, I can't even remember what it's called now, my edema, it's a word I never remember, it makes my legs swell, and swell up really bad with sugar, when I have sugars and carbs. So I'm basically going to be going on full keto for the most part. No, it's carnivore, with a little bit of keto thrown in, meaning that I might once in a while toss in things like high-fat cheeses, high-fat stuff with like no carbs. So if I do have things added to my diet, it will be high-fat, high-protein, no carbs, no sugar type stuff. So that will be my possible cheat stuff or my possible additive stuff if I'm looking to switch things up. But for the most part, I'm planning on going pure carnivore. So like I said, eggs, bacon, maybe a little bit of extra beef in the morning, then basically just beef in the evening. Then I take supplements. I take lots of supplements. It'd probably be cheaper for me to eat the food than eat supplements. But I'll quickly go over those. So I take basically a Min's multivitamin. I'm just going to toss them back in my box as I read them off. The fairly standard vitamin B100 complex, vitamin C, vitamin D3, because I live in Canada, so we don't get much sunlight. And because we don't get much sunlight, you need that vitamin D. And since I'm not going to be taking in citrus fruits and stuff like that, vitamin C is important. I'm not sure what vitamin B does exactly. I just know I'm supposed to take it. And another really good one is omega-3s. So wild salmon and fish oil tablets. Or not tablets, gels. Because omega-3s are really good for you. And as much as I love fish, and as much as I can eat fish, fish is super expensive here. We have no bodies of water. Like, the closest body of water is across the mountains. So getting fish here is expensive. It's hard to get unless you want it frozen, and it tastes off. Now, some less common ones that I take, unless you're an old folks, this one is probiotics. If you are over at 40, most doctors suggest probiotics because your body stops dealing with that stuff as well. Another one is aqua greens, so spirulina and chlorella. This one I take mostly because of Joe Rogan. This is one of the ones he suggests, and considering I'm not eating any vegetables and stuff, having a green supplement is good, and these things are supposed to be really good for a lot of things. I don't know, I just take them. I can't really tell sometimes if any of these actually help. I feel that I think the D3 does, the multivitamin definitely does. The others don't really notice a whole ton. Now, these two are my last two. These two are going to be a bit more iffy for people, and they should be. So one is a testosterone booster. Now, what it is doesn't basically boost your testosterone. What it does is it naturally, with natural ingredients, helps your testosterone levels increase, and your what's it called now? Starts with a C. There's a chemical in your brain that when you're stressed and stuff, it goes up. So C, camera is called, but it brings those levels down. Since I started taking this, probably last year at some point, or earlier this year at some point, holy crap. It has helped me massively with my moods. It has massively helped me with a lot of issues, even a lot of my mental issues. Something I do want to actually get done once this is all over, and I want to go get my testosterone tested. But I have, on occasion, run out of these, and I've noticed a massive difference when I don't have these. So, for me, these are really important. Definitely go get your testosterone tested if you're getting to be an older gentleman like myself, and you've had issues. This one is one that I don't know how long it would take, and that is an Hgh Booster, which is human growth hormone. It basically assists in muscle growth and stuff like that. Now, it does have side effects over long-term use, which is one of those things I don't know if I'm going to take long-term, but because I am trying to build muscle for the intent of weight loss, because the more muscle I build, the more I'll passively lose. I want something to help in that end, because I am fighting against my own body weight and my ability, my mobility. I want something that is going to help me with that, help quicken the pace on that. It does work, obviously, because it's kind of what it does. I just don't know if I'm going to take it long term. But I'm going to definitely be taking it for the foreseeable future. Now, this is all I'm going to be taking for the next 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, when I come off of the core restore stuff, I'm going to be going back on my normal regimen, which is, well, whey protein. In this case, is 0 carb protein, and creatine, which I've taken both for considerably for quite a while. Though I stopped taking it when I stopped working out. Creatine is not a muscle booster. What that does is actually increases your muscles' ability to do work and recover from doing workouts and stuff. So again, being a big fat person, everything is very difficult. So having the ability for my muscles to recover quicker does make a huge difference, and I have noticed the difference when I was doing the past. So I'll be going back on that after the 2 weeks. Now, that leads me into the exercise portion. So for the next week, I'm going to be exercising 3 days a week, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I'm going to be doing it more of a cardio-based workout. So all my workouts are on my Bowflex. It's all muscle-based and stuff like that. I'm not going to be able to use my treadmill until I'm under 400 pounds, and even then, it's going to be a while. The elliptical bothers my knees, so it's not something I'd like to use. Like I said, I'll probably get back to using the treadmill eventually, but I pretty much have to do cardio on my Bowflex. Now, what that means is it's going to be, what I usually do is lower weights at higher reps and more sets. So I usually do about 5 sets of, I can't remember what it was, like 15 reps per set at a very low weight. And I just do that. And if I succeed on all of them, then I usually pump up the weights by 5 pounds for the next time I do it. And I do 3 alternates, so I do like upper body and then core and then legs. So those are my 3 exercises. So I'll be doing that during the mornings. In the next week, so week 2, I'm going to actually switch back to my muscle training, which is the same thing, arms, core, legs, but instead it's going to be less sets, less reps, much higher weights. But I'm going to lower my weights a little bit just to make sure I'm not pushing myself, since it has been a while since I have worked out. So that's going to be week 2. Now, week 3 and going forward, I'm going to go back to my routine of still 3 days a week, but twice a day. So that's mornings are going to be muscle workouts. Evenings are going to be cardio, and they're going to be alternating. So if I do like arms in the morning, then it'll be like core, legs in the evening, and then the next day I'll do core in the morning, and then it'll be arms or legs in the evening, and then the last day will be legs, and yeah. That way I'm not doubling up on the body part. I always have a day in between to recover, and then the weekends I have off to recover as well, which is really, really important. And I've had good success in the past with that. The issue is just maintaining the routine, just making sure I do it, because there's some hiccups. Like, I end up getting busy in the evenings, so if I wait too long, then I'm not working out till like super late. So I'm going to have to make sure that I work that into my system. So what I might have to do is, my night routine usually involves me watch a show with the wife. So I'll watch a show with the wife, then I'll go work out, then I'll get on my computer to hang out with friends. On the days that I say play Pathfinder, which we start a lot earlier, I'll probably have to do Pathfinder, then work out, and then again come back on my computer for the rest of my evening. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a bit of a pain, but I think it'll generally be worth it. That's about all the information I have to give so far. So like I said, if you do have any questions in regards to anything I've talked about, or you want to know more, or you want more detailed stuff, again, comment down below. Let me know what it is you want to know, and I'll do my best. Now, this is the fun part. So first, I'm going to weigh myself. You get to see how big of a dude I actually am, because I don't know if my face depicts that enough. While I'm moving this, you can look at my fancy new background. The wife and my kids helped me set up earlier today. Okay, let's get this back here. Turn it on. And I am... Need to move it up a little bit. I keep my hand in my back on my bookshelves, which is messing up the weight. Okay. Not bad. It's about what I expected. Pretty much 460 on the button. Which means I am up 70 pounds from before, which is very unfortunate, but not much I can do about that right now. Now, this is the point where if you don't want to see a half-naked fat man, I would turn off the video. I got no other information for you. If you are going to click off and you want to keep up on my videos, please subscribe. You can do that like thing, comment thing if you want, all you want, but the subscribing part is probably the most important part. So, if you don't want to see a half-naked fat man, this is when you should leave. You have been warned. So, I have to take my shorts up over my belly, so you can't really get a full view, but I am a big fucking dude. And that is going to change. That has changed greatly. So, luckily, I am fairly lucky. I don't have the big man boobs. Not really. But it's also a problem, because if you are somebody like me who carries all of your weight around your midsection, that is bad for you. That is actually worse for you than if you are a fat dude who carries their weight everywhere. Your chances of back injury and blood pressure issues and what else? Heart issues are much worse, because your body has to deal with all that weight being in one confined space. Like, my arms are small. I don't have big arms. My legs are big muscle-wise, but I don't carry much fat on my legs at all. My back, I don't carry much fat back there either. So it's pretty much all my gut. I got some, obviously, a little bit in the upper chest, but not a whole lot. Yes, I get winded just by taking my shirt off, which is why I don't do it very often. But, so, now for those of you who have stuck around to see the half-naked fat man, again, if you want to keep up on this content, I'm going to be doing this weekly, including the half-naked fat man portion of it, and the weight scale, and any updates and stuff. To keep track of that, subscribe. If you want to like it, you can like it. Comment if you have any questions or comments. Again, these videos are mostly for myself, so if you want to be a jackass in the comments, you can be a jackass. I might delete it, I might not. Depends on what I feel like. But for those of you who do appreciate what I'm talking about and understand that this video is not as easy as I might be making it look to seem for me to make, thanks for watching. And if you are somebody trying to do what I'm doing, hopefully this gives you some either camaraderie, I guess, or at the very least maybe some information that you might want to take to your doctor or something to try out new things that maybe haven't worked in the past, because I know it's a struggle to find new ways and find things that work for you. Each individual person is different. What works for me will not necessarily work for you, and what works for you will probably not work for me. Okay, I'm going to end it here, and have yourselves a lovely evening, day, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Goodbye.